The Pearl and the Tide. Long ago, beneath the glittering waves of the sapphire sea, the ancient city of Atlantis shimmered like a dream. Coral towers spiraled toward the light. Crystal bridges arched across golden canals. And in the center of the city stood the Pearl Pagoda, a temple so beautiful it was said to be carved from a single moonstone gifted by the sea herself. The people of Atlantis were clever and kind, but none more so than a girl named Maylene, whose heart was as open as the ocean and whose mind was sharp as a swordfish's fin. Maylene lived with her grandfather, Old Tui, a pearl carver who whispered to seashells and sang to clams until they opened just for him. "Respect the sea," he often said. "She gives, but she remembers. Never take more than you need." Every morning, Maylin would help him polish pearls, feed the garden eels, and listen to his tales of the Sea Queen who ruled the currents and tides. He warned that the Sea Queen once loved Atlantis, but when the people grew greedy, she withdrew to her coral palace, hidden deep in the twilight trench. "She still watches," Old Tui would say, his eyes squinting toward the dark horizon. But not everyone in Atlantis believed the old stories anymore. The city had grown wealthy, and many Atlanteans now dug for pearls day and night. They piled them in markets, melted them into crowns, and tossed imperfect ones away like pebbles. The sea grew cloudy with greed, but few cared, until the tide began to act strangely. One morning, the sea did not rise. Fisherfolk stood on dry seabeds. Giant turtles wandered through city streets. Boats leaned against buildings like forgotten toys. The tide had vanished. Priests blamed the wind. Scholars blamed the moon. But Old Tui only sighed. "The Sea Queen is angry." No one listened, except Maylin. That night, she swam alone to the Pearl Pagoda. She carried no weapon, only her grandfather's old jade comb, said to be carved from the spine of a sea dragon. There, before the moonstone altar, she made a solemn promise. "I will go to the Sea Queen," she whispered. "I will learn what we've done, and I will make it right." With a deep breath, Maylin dove into the deepest part of the ocean, beyond the oyster forests and down into the twilight trench, where even sunlight was afraid to follow. The trench was cold and dark and filled with creatures that blinked like stars and moved like whispers. Maylin swam past glowing sharks and spiraled past stone turtles as big as temples. At the bottom, she found it, a palace of red coral guarded by jellyfish with stinging spears. The Sea Queen was waiting. She sat upon a throne of obsidian seashells, her hair flowing like storm currents, her eyes like the full moon reflected in dark water. "Why have you come?" the queen asked. Her voice was like crashing waves and distant bells. "To ask your forgiveness," Maylin said, bowing. "Atlantis has forgotten its promises, but I remember, and I want to help." The Sea Queen studied her. "Many come asking favors. Few offer to pay the price." "I'll pay it," Maylin said. "Whatever it is." The queen's eyes narrowed. Then she lifted a hand and from a glowing clamshell pulled a single black pearl. "This is the Pearl of the Tide," she said. "It holds the balance of the sea. As long as it is returned to the Pearl Pagoda before the next full moon, the tides will flow again." "But..." She stood and pointed her trident at Maylin. "If greed touches it, even once, the pearl will turn to stone, and Atlantis will drown beneath the angry sea." "I understand," Maylin said, and took the pearl gently into her hands. Maylin began the journey back, clutching the glowing pearl to her chest. But the sea is full of eyes. A passing squid merchant saw her and spread word of the glowing treasure. By the time Maylin neared Atlantis, whispers had reached the city like wildfire.